Hey guys, welcome to Techability. I am Berge. We are your source for no-nonsense tech. First thing first, I wanted to thank Tony at Elite Adventure Tours. You can find him at EliteAdventureTours.com for supplying us with this bad camera, this really nice Canon camera that we're going to be using from this point forward on all our reviews. So thank you, Tony at Elite Adventure Tours. Again, check them out at EliteAdventureTours.com as well as Elite Adventure Tours on YouTube. Okay, so you guys have already seen part one of this comparison. If you haven't, go ahead and check it out in the description below. We have the HTC One M8 on the left side and the Samsung Galaxy S5 on the right side. What we're going to do is part two of this comparison, which covers games, camera quality, gallery, third-party apps, some benchmarks, and a few other things that we didn't get to cover in part one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for watching Technability. First thing first, don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't. Alright, you can see here on the left side, you have the HTC One full unibody metal aluminum build. It's the Gold Developer Edition model, 32 gigabyte. Again, go to part one if you're looking for specs and all that good stuff. We have it all in part one. Here you have the Galaxy S5 for T-Mobile. No carrier branding, but it is the T-Mobile model, both LTE compatible with T-Mobile's network. You can see the Galaxy S5 logo, Samsung up top, 16 megapixel camera with 4K recording, fingerprint scanner. Both got gorgeous 1080p displays. So again, if you want to go through the spec rundown, check out part one. Alright, so we're going to get started here right off the bat because I know you guys are excited about the camera on both devices. Now before I get into actually clicking on the camera icon so we can get into the software, let me discuss a few things about the history of the cameras on both these devices. The Galaxy S5 is rocking a 16 megapixel rear camera with its LED flash, right? Okay, and the front is a 2 megapixel shooter. Samsung has always prided itself on their cameras. You can go all the way back to the original Galaxy Vibrant, to the Galaxy S2, S3, S4, as well as the Note line. And you see basically that they've focused quite a bit on the quality of their camera. It's no exception here with the S5. 16 megapixel rear shooter, 4K recording, you got all sorts of different bells and whistles when it comes to software functionality and features. It's an absolutely killer camera, and we'll get into that in a minute when we actually look at both of them in depth. The HTC One, slightly different. Now if you go back to 2012, to the One X, and to the One S, and to the Evo LTE, these phones were rocking 8 megapixel cameras. Heck, even the HTC DNA was rocking a higher megapixel than the HTC One, which was released after. And the HTC One, the original M7 from 2013, had a 4 ultra pixel shooter. In other words, it's 4 megapixel. The HTC M8, again, is no exception. They've released a dual camera. You can see there's one up top and one right under it. This is a 4 ultra pixel camera with dual LED flash. Now the whole point of that is it takes better low light shots. You got optical image stabilization. It takes better in terms of just like the overall scope of the image you're taking. Apparently the 4 ultra pixel improves in that sense. So again, it's something that you do notice and appreciate when you use the camera. And it comes with a 5 megapixel. Yes, the front-facing camera has a higher megapixel count than the rear. It does come with a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, which is absolutely fantastic for those self shots, for all you egotistical people out there who want to take front-facing camera shots of yourself. But anyways, both cameras are good. Obviously, if we're talking about just sheer quality, Samsung is going to win with the 16 megapixel. But if we're talking about, got the front-facing camera on. If we're talking about just overall functionality and features, both of these cameras are fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look at both rear cameras here. Now obviously this is not a good shot. Let's go ahead and decline that. Please don't call me while I'm shooting a video. You can see this is not a good shot I got of the pillow. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate the camera around and just lift it up. Okay, we got Elite Adventure Tours office right there. You might see Tony pop up out of the blue. So let's go ahead and open both camera applications. Okay. Here you see the Galaxy S5, here you see the HTC M8. Both have autofocus, of course. Both have burst shot feature, which you can enable here on the S5. You have burst shot enabled here on the HTC One. You could choose best shot, or you could just delete them all. You can keep them all if you want. You can see how that works. You simply just go back to the cameras. Now, both cameras have great quality. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you just look at them, when you look at them through the scope of the phone and through the scope of the phone screen, 1080p display with high resolution pixel per inch density, you got great quality on both. Now what I mean by sheer quality being better on the S5 is in the sense that if you crop or you zoom 100%, you are going to get better quality images because it has a higher megapixel count. So you can see I'm zoomed in here on Elite Adventure Tours. We're going to take a picture, we're going to zoom out. Okay, let's put the S5 down for a second and focus on the HTC M8. I'm going to zoom on Elite Adventure Tours here, autofocus, take a picture. Alright, it's very quick. Taking a shot, taking a picture here with the HTC One. The shutter speed is absolutely fantastically fast. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the flash here and see how bright it is. You can see that's a super bright flash on the HTC M8. And of course, if you just swipe over to the left, you get the front-facing camera. Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you guys for watching Technability. And of course, you could swipe back to get the rear camera. Got all your filters, as well as your selfie shot, dual capture video, Zoe, Pan 360. Dual capture is a feature that if you're aware of, if you have the Galaxy S4, dual capture was available. You can see I can go back to selfie and take a front-facing camera shot. Great front-facing camera quality. You got a timer, okay? Go back, you can filter it, you can see all the filter options, you could touch it up with their editing options. Alright, so there's a flurry of different editing options as well. Alright, let's go back here. Alright, so we're at the front facing camera, let's go back to the rear, and you have options right here as well with the 3-dot menu. So you could just turn flash on or on auto. So you can see all the options right here. You have ISO options, all sorts of different filters, normal, fisheye, etc. You can see all the different depth of field, distortion, mono, etc. Country, you can go back to filters and just set it on auto. Normal. Okay, you can go to the settings right below. Review duration for the front-facing shots, self-timer, storage. You have continuous shooting options, camera options, volume button options, save as camera, reset to default. So quite a few features here on the camera for the HTC One M8. And of course you have the multitasking, which you could just click right there. And you get the multitasking, you can go back. Click right here to see a preview of your image. So we'll go ahead and look at some images when we get into the gallery. But for the time being, just to show you guys the quality of this camera, it's really good. I mean, yes, it's 4 megapixel, 4 ultra pixels is what we call it, but it's a great camera in my opinion. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the Galaxy S5 here with the Galaxy S5 camera. Okay, 16 megapixel. This thing is super in terms of quality. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the flash real quick and see how bright the flash is on this thing. Pretty bright, right? Actually, it's very bright, at least bright enough. Let's go ahead and put the flash back on auto. Now again, you could see when I zoom in here, you know, it really doesn't affect the quality much. I mean, the quality at 100% zoom is still really good. And of course, you also have a bunch of options here with the Galaxy S5. If you click on mode right below, you can see you have auto, you have beauty face, shots and more, panorama, virtual tour, dual camera. If you click on this little arrow, it's going to take you to Samsung apps where you could download a bunch of different extensions and whatnot. Let's go ahead and turn the brightness down a bit. I believe it's at 100. There we go. Okay, so a multitude of different options here with this camera. You also have HDR options. And if you go to settings, you could see you could change the picture size, burst shot, picture stabilization, face detection, ISO, metering modes, tap to take pics, which is just tapping to take pics as opposed to auto. I'm thinking of autofocus. Got exposure value, guidelines, shutter sound. So a multitude of different options, as well as voice options. So you can see right there, there's a voice option right there, voice control. So it's cool, a lot of different features here with the Galaxy S5 camera. So it's one to be reckoned with in my opinion. You can see right here, selective focus. You could turn that back to auto as such. Alright, quick and easy to take pictures. If you want to shoot video, you could shoot at 4K if you want. I like to shoot at 1080 only because the frame rates are a bit better. While you're shooting, you could zoom, you could take a picture, you could pause video. So video quality is pretty good. And going back to the video quality of the HTC One, which I didn't really get to show you guys. If you go back here to video, absolutely great video quality. We have a video actually comparing both 1080p video quality. So you can check that out on our channel. We did that video a few days ago. You can take pictures as well, pause, zoom, etc. So video quality is solid on both. Now the cameras on both are really good. I mean, if you're a camera person, don't let that 4 ultra pixel fool you. It's a really good camera on this one. The front facing camera is really good as well. Has a higher megapixel count than the S5. Both are really good in what they do respectively for a phone. I mean, we've come a long way, guys, to where our camera phones are as good as they are with the S5 and the HTC One. So no complaints out of me. Now let's go ahead and take a look at their respective galleries, right? So you can see both galleries here. It loads a bit faster on the HTC One, which, you know, if you saw part one of the comparison, you could see the speeds on the HTC One are slightly a bit faster. Let's go ahead and zoom in a bit. There we go. Okay, so you can see the galleries on both respectively. If you're used to S4, S3, TouchWiz in general, then you're aware of their gallery. All right, you can see the gallery here on the HTC One. So you could swipe over, you could go check out your pictures by timeline, by location, by albums. Here you can do the same. You have albums, camera, new, shots, download, studio, etc. Screenshots. If you click on the three dot, you can create an album, slideshow, studio, settings, etc. You can go back to your camera. You can search for images. So if I go to camera shots here, for example, all right, well, here's our video that we just shot. Camera shots here. Here's the video that we just shot. Sound quality is great on the one.
Pause, zoom, etc.
If you want, I like to shoot it. Muffles out, right? Because the frame rates are a bit better. Speakers on the back.
While you're shooting, you could zoom, you could take a picture, you can pause.
Simply go back here. All right, let's take a look at a picture here. Let's go ahead and click on this. Okay, go back here and click on the picture of the HTC M8. So let's go ahead and look at both of their editing options. If you go to edit here, click on the three dot here and click on edit. You can see the multitude of different editing options that both of them come with. Filters for all you filter freaks, Instagram, etc. Tools, frames, effects. The Galaxy S4, you got tone effects, filters as well, portrait effects, decoration. Now if I click on tone, contrast for example, you just swipe your finger and you could adjust the contrast, reduce it, increase it, etc. Over here if you click on filters, you can go to custom, change the white balance, the levels, the exposure. So both have a multitude of different features in terms of editing your photos. So for all you edit freaks out there, as I like to call you guys, no offense when I call you guys freaks, you have all the ability to edit your photos as you like to do. You could say I could pinch in and just kind of like do that whole thing. You get this with iOS as well, right? Right over here you could pinch in, pinch out. Okay, so of course you have the ability to swipe up to get Google Now. Over here you have the ability to multitask here as well. You just swipe them away, multitask here, and just push that little X and you've closed out of everything. Alright, so now we're back to our home screens on both devices. Both devices, of course, are running their respective operating system on top of Android 4.4.2. That would be KitKat. Of course, they are future-proof, so they're going to release updates in a timely fashion. If you got the developer edition or unlock model, the one, expect updates slightly a bit faster. You can see the notification bars here. Okay, so both phones are super fast. I do feel like the one is slightly a bit faster. It's a little less bogged down than what you get with TouchWiz. And I think it's better. I know the Super AMOLED is absolutely gorgeous and bright, but it's easier to see the one, in my opinion, in direct sunlight than it is with the HTC M8. That's just through personal experience. Now with battery life, the S5 definitely has better battery life. The one tends to drain fairly quickly, depending on how many accounts you have synced, depending on how you play games, stream movies, stream music. You're going to go through battery pretty quickly. So carry an extra charge around with you. With the S5, 2800 milliamp battery, 2600 milliamp on the M8. They're both pretty close to one another, but the S5 does have better battery consumption. After about 3 weeks of use, I've noticed that the S5 does have slightly better battery consumption. Alright, you guys are watching Technability, your source for no-nonsense tech. If you guys already haven't, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Again, want to thank Tony at Elite Adventure Tours for supplying us with this awesome camera that we're using right here. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at some benchmarks. Alright, we're going to go ahead and run Quadrant on both of these bad boys. I believe I should have Quadrant here. If I don't, then I will download it. Yes, I do. Okay, let's go ahead and open them both at the same time. Okay, you saw that. Again, you can see the blacks on the S5 are, of course, it's more natural, the blacks, because Super AMOLED generates blacks naturally, whereas LCD, of course, generates every single color. Both of them are respectively, I think, at least in my opinion, accurate in their color saturation. The S5 just is a bit more oversaturated, but the LCD on the M8 is no slouch. It's something really nice to look at. If you're used to, say, the LG G2 or even the iPhone 5, 4S, 5S, 5C, then you're used to LCD. The S5 with the Super AMOLED may be a bit too oversaturated for you if that's what you're used to. All right, let's go ahead and look at both scores here. We're going to click on yes. Alright, so 24,826 versus 24,519 on the S5. You can see that right here if I just kind of... Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and zoom in here. 24,519 versus 24,826. Just going ahead and zooming in on both of these devices so you can see how the icons look and everything. Alright, let's go ahead and zoom in. Just focus in here on it. Should zoom out a little bit. There we go. Alright, the icons look absolutely gorgeous on both. I mean, you literally see no pixels. If you guys see a pixel, please tell me. I mean, of course, the camera quality may not be as good, but in terms of just pixel, or in terms of the pixel per inch density, I mean, you got over 400 pixels per inch on both of these devices. So really, they're absolutely gorgeous displays in every way, shape, or form. So we're definitely content with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at a few other things here. Of course, you have Google Hangouts. You have their respective messaging applications. If I go to messages here, I can add a message. Of course, Samsung has their messaging app, which has a multitude of different features as well. Alright, you can see how they both look. I think I already covered this in part 1, but in any case, you can see how they both look. I mainly wanted to just cover the camera in this part, to be honest with you guys. The camera is really important in my opinion because, of course, people don't carry point-and-shoot digital cameras anymore. I mean, they do, but for the most part, people are content with what they get with their phones. I mean, you could see with the Note 3 and the iPhone 5S, they both have such good cameras. The LG G2, for what it's worth, has a good camera. But these two guys should be right there with those phones, especially the Galaxy S5, because, you know, Samsung prides itself on its camera quality, and they really have stepped it up with this phone. All right, let's go ahead and look at both. Let's look at some games, actually, on both devices here. Now, I've noticed that games seem to run slightly a bit better on the HTC One. Again, you can see the benchmark scores are very close. But for what it's worth, the games seem to run slightly a bit better on the HTC One. Now, that's not to say they don't run well on the S5, because they absolutely do. But let's go ahead and actually take a look at an example right here. Here's The Walking Dead, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite comics. We're going to connect to both at the same time. Alright, let's go ahead and just play. And the volume, of course, is definitely better on the HTC One with the dual boom sound speakers. Let's go ahead and click continue here. Alright, we're going to show you guys a few games and then wrap this up. I'm going to turn up the volume here on the One. I'm going to turn it down on the S5. We'll just let this go for a few seconds. See, it loads a little faster on the One, right? Same processor, 801 Snapdragon. It's actually clocked in a bit faster, I believe, on the S5. But then we do have a review of this game that we did a few months back before anybody else had it on their Android phone, so you guys could check that out as well. Side by side, guys, there you guys go. We did also look at NBA 2K in part 1 of this comparison. It's very hard to tell which one looks better. They're so similar, right?
Well, I reckon you didn't do it then.
He reckons he didn't do it then. Does it really matter?
Does it really matter?
Nah, not much. You know, I've driven a bunch of fellas down to this prison. Lord knows how many. Usually it's about now I get the, I didn't do it.
Yeah, Lee's not saying I didn't do it. Let's click it at the same time.
Not for me.
Because guys in your position already said it enough.
We got what looks like a 1091E here.
So I can look around on both.
All cars have to keep on the lookout for 91B in the area.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and exit this. We're going to exit this here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and look at Temple Run. People love Temple Run, don't they? Alright, let's look at Temple Run Oz here on both. Okay, don't ask again. Looks like it's having an issue loading up here on the S5. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's loading up in here. No, guys, I didn't even notice. There we go. Okay. Hard to play both of these here with the lights and everything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of Temple Run Oz. Let's go ahead and click the multitasking key here on both and just close out of all these apps. Close out, and let's go ahead and look at Thor. Another really cool game with some fantastic graphics. I mean, really the graphics on these phones, right? Jeez, where have we come? How far have we come with the games that you get on these devices? You can see the one loads slightly a bit faster, right? I mean, everything seems to be loading about a hair quicker. Now let's go ahead and... Both of them absolutely gorgeous. We're going to exit out of Thor here. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the, what else can we look at? I guess we can look at, let's see, what do we have here? You know what, we're good with games. That's what we get with games. Now, if you guys want to look at their WebKit browsers, both respective browsers on their devices, not Chrome, but both of their respective WebKit internet browsers. Let's go ahead and take a look at both. Okay. See, HTC, you got the tabs, you got incognito mode, private mode, you can add a tab, So very simple, you know, nothing really too unique or revolutionary in terms of their browsers. Okay, and of course you have the flashlight, which, I don't think you have a flashlight here stock with the S5, but you do have the ability to download a bunch of Samsung apps. You have S Health, of course, which has the heart rate monitor. You have Galaxy Essentials, which takes you to their store, which you can download a bunch of different Samsung apps. So you have a variety of different things that they both come with respectively. Individual review to get an idea of both of them. You do have the TV option, which is the smart remote here. It's IR Blaster. You could use your phone as a remote. Again, so a multitude of different features on both in terms of what they come with, calculators, calendars, etc., their weather apps. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at their weather app here. You got weather here. Right, I'm sure you have weather somewhere here. I hate to be naive about where their weather app is, but of course you have S Voice as well. But in any case, I do like HTC's weather app. I think it looks really nice. The graphics and everything, what they've done with it, it's always been the same, but I do like the way that it looks. Of course, you have Samsung's music player. You have HTC's music player as well. So both of them have their respective music players. See how this works. Fast forward, rewind, and of course, if you lock the phone, go to your lock screen. There's your music player. There's your music player. Okay, you can unlock the phones. Go home. Go home. Of course, you have Hangouts and all that. So you can see my setups are the same on every phone, right? I have the weather. I have the clock widget. I have the icons in exact same places. Even the folders are very similar looking on the second page with Google Now and everything. Of course, Google Now, you have all of your different features there with Google Now. Alright, so both of them are great phones. I mean, if you're in the market for a device and you're confused about these two phones, that's a tough one, guys. I mean, really, they both present their own unique features and own unique touch. In terms of build quality, both are absolutely stunning devices in my opinion. Yes, the S5 does have a plastic build, but really, you get used to it. The bezel's a bit bigger than what you're used to with the S4, if that's what you have right now. But really, you get used to this build. It's fantastic. It's light. Feels good in the hand. It's definitely an eye catcher. Same with the one. I love the gunmetal gray on the one because it has that shiny finish. It looks really nice. The gold one is really nice as well. It's amber gold, so it has like a copper-like finish, but it's also a really nice looking device. Of course, it's a bit thicker at 9.4 millimeters versus 8.1. You can see it's thin right here and then it protrudes out. It almost looks thinner than the S4, but really it's not because the thickness protrudes out right here in the center. So both are really nice devices. They offer something unique for whatever specific consumer base you're in. If you're someone who wants, you don't have to be a tech savvy person to own either of these devices. I think they're both consumer friendly. Samsung has always had that edge in terms of TouchWiz being a bit more consumer friendly, but in my opinion, HTC really does deserve your attention with what they've released here with the M8. It's a fantastic device, guys. All you got to do is give it a chance, and I guarantee you're going to fall in love with it. I've already convinced 2 iPhone users to make the switch to the M8. It's something that really, it's unprecedented to get an iPhone user to switch over to Android because you don't want to tell your iPhone friends that you're using one of those quote-unquote laggy droids, right? Yeah, I don't know about that, but in any case, the M8, the S5, both great phones. I suggest either of these devices. They run for about the same price in the market today. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either. You have either one of these devices and you are set for the future. You have a future-proof device, devices that are really built well, have great software, have all the hardware in terms of being future-proof, spec'd out to the max. Fantastic cameras, fantastic screens, great speakers, great software. I mean, everything on these phones screams out, buy me, please buy me. So really, I can't choose one over the other. Right now I'm using the HTC One, but I can easily just switch to the Galaxy S5 without much of a hitch. So I'm a fan of both, and I really suggest that you guys take a look at both of these devices the next time you're at your local cell phone shop or carrier. If you're in the market, again, either one of these is a great device. If you have any questions in regards to either one of these devices, please do not hesitate to ask me in the comment section below. If there's anything else that you guys want me to cover, let me know. Stay tuned for some more comparisons. We're going to compare both these devices with the Note 3, the 5S, the G2, the Nexus, the Lumia line, a bunch of different phones. We're also going to be doing a contest this summer where we're going to be giving away an M8, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching Technability, your source for no-nonsense tech. If you already haven't, subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Twitter. Follow us on Google+, like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. If I had an Instagram, I'll tell you guys to follow us on Instagram, but I don't. So don't follow me on Instagram. But check us out everywhere else. Check out technability.com. Again, want to thank Tony at Elite Adventure Tours. You can check them out at YouTube at Elite Adventure Tours, as well as EliteAdventureTours.com. Thank you guys for watching Technability. Have yourselves a good day.